In this Patreon-requested album review, I was asked to cover Nickelback's 1998 album, The State, which was later re-released in 1999 and then again in 2000. It appears that I now have patrons who only want me to cover Nickelback albums, and at this rate, I'll cover every album in their discography. Well, at the very least, this time, I get to talk about a Nickelback album that I actually think is good. My experience with The State was when I bought it back in 2000 after hearing Leader of Men on the radio. It wasn't nu metal, and it had a slow burn to it, and I was huge on that style back then, and it was hard to hear anything new in that style, so I wanted to see what Nickelback was all about. After listening to it, I have to admit, I listened to several songs on The State repeatedly back then. The State was the band's second album, and their first after being signed by a major label. It would eventually be certified platinum in both the US and Canada, as well as help Nickelback win their first Juno Award. Along with those accolades, the album posted 4 singles, 2 of which charted on Billboard's mainstream rock tracks. Needless to say, signing with a major label really helped. Last week I reviewed Nickelback's latest album, Feed the Machine. In that review, I made mention of The State and how I was hoping that in 2017 Nickelback would be going back to an album written in that sense. While that didn't turn out to be the case, it's worth pointing out why I think The State is proof that Nickelback is capable of making a good album. Like I said before, it was hearing Leader of Men that made me want to buy the album. While it's not my favorite song on The State, it definitely sells a good side of Nickelback in that slow tone. Think back to a time before Nickelback was a name people laughed at, and think about how you would react to this song from a newer band that you hadn't heard before. Back at that time, I was huge on Days of the New, even though that band was on the downswing, and this song reminded me a lot of that style in post-grunge. The soft guitar and Kruger's voice that stays calm just before the second minute and track time where all the volume picks up, and it sounds great. The vocals, the percussion from drummer Ryan Viktel, it all works well as a complete track. Leader of Men is not the only song on The State that follows that description. What's better is that the standard Nickelback formula isn't present here either. There are songs that have different speeds and bridges, different writing schemes, the vocal range within the same song. The band wrote several ways and it works well and was promising for the future. To better prove this point, listen to the opening song, Breathe. Listen to how there is not only a different speed, but the track changes speeds from verse to chorus. The vocal progression matches that intensity. The guitar effects and riffs highlight different parts of the song. If this was the type of creativity that would have come from Nickelback over the years, then a lot of the hate the band gets now would not have existed.
The same since I knew I would, and now found I know it. I didn't want this, somebody help me see it now, feel that I've been there.
I really like this song. I can't even imagine how many times I listened to this track back in 2000 and was ecstatic when I finally heard it on the radio as the album's second single. Keep in mind also that The State featured several songs that all sounded different from one another, including the singles. It's not the standard Nickelback radio format. There is honest-to-God variety. I'm not going to spin it as the album being an absolute masterpiece and that every song on here is amazing, but a majority of it really is a good listen, and there are different songs like Worthy to Say, Cowboy Hat, and One Last Run that really have a drive and prove that Nickelback definitely possess a talent that all the band's haters say they don't.
Try again someday. Well, somebody's gonna do it again, gonna make me turn against all of my friends. So you better have something that will say.
Worthy to Say is one of the sleeper Nickelback songs that I don't think even many of their current fans know about, and it's a shame because this is an energetic, feel-good song. That goes along with my argument though of how good The State was back before Silver Side Up and beyond, when that aim for radio wasn't so apparent. It's more about the rock and vibe here, not the flash and dazzle. Like I said before, the album isn't a flat-out masterpiece, and while the first half is more memorable lasting than the second, there are still many more positives than negatives. I feel that even those hate-filled and bitter Nickelback trolls would have some trouble really picking apart an album like The State. Well, they probably could, but it wouldn't hold any weight.
Memories are cutting
I wasn't particularly impressed with Nickelback's Feed the Machine, and I've made my share of claims about Nickelback's generic formula. But the reason I get upset about it is because I know that Nickelback is capable of making something better than Look at This Photograph. An album like The State proves it. Overall, The State, while not perfect, is an album that highlights a range of song structure and vocal delivery with some impressive drumming and is a solid post-grunge album from the heyday of nu metal. Don't just take my word for it though. Listen to songs like Leader of Men and Breathe and hear what Nickelback is capable of for yourself.